And now, Lifestyles Unlimited presents the Real Estate Investor Radio Show. Over the next hour, we unfold your map to financial freedom. You'll learn how to retire through investing in single-family and multifamily real estate. You'll learn how to create cash flow and build wealth so you can have the time and money to live the lifestyle you want.
Welcome to the show. My name is Al Gordon, and as always, we're working on your financial freedom. On today's show, it's another edition of Tell Al Tuesday, and I've asked Joey to come back onto the show to be my guest today because you're going to learn a lot from Joey. Now, let me give you some background on Joey. He, like me, has proudly served the United States of America. He spent some time in the United States Army. He didn't make a career out of it like I did. He was smarter, and he got out, and he went to a thing called college. Now, he got a college degree. He worked as an accountant for a while. And, he was just doing what everybody else does in America. He was doing what he was told to do. And he was taught that there was a path to financial freedom that involved basically doing everything he had done up to that point. So he spent time as an accountant, and he realized, man, I'm like young, and if I have to do this for like 30 or 40 years, I might get bored of accounting. Now, one thing I know about Joey, I don't think he would ever get bored of accounting, but I think that constant day in and day out of working for somebody else, I think that's what he saw as a potential problem for his future years. So along the way, back in 2011, I'm going back a few days, he discovered Lifestyles Unlimited, and in 2012, he became a member. And he went to work buying real estate, and he changed the trajectory of his life. In 2017, that's ironically the year that I became a member of Lifestyles Unlimited, he left accounting because he had created something beneficial in his life. So let's do this. Let's bring Joey onto the show. Let's get into his backstory. Let's understand what you can learn from him, because he's not only a single-family investor, he's also a multifamily investor, and he's part of the Lifestyles Unlimited team and serves our community as a single-family mentor. Joey, welcome back to the show. It's been a couple days since we hung out, but I'm so glad to have you back.
Al, it's a pleasure to talk with what I call the voice of Lifestyles Unlimited, Al Gordon.
Wow, I made an impression on you, didn't I?
You sure have.
Well, I don't think it was me that created your initial impression. I'm thinking it was a guy by the name of Del Walmsley. Am I correct with that?
That is 100% correct. Yes.
So how did Del impress upon you that what you were doing for retirement may not have been working the way you thought it should have been working for you?
Well, I think it's like most people that they just kind of look at the writing on the wall. You talked about how I was an accountant for, I worked a W-2 job. I actually quit that in about 2014 and continued my real estate investing. I actually worked with a hard money lender for a couple of years while doing my real estate as well. But, it's just, I guess I wasn't really thinking about retirement, that was a little while ago when I joined, and but I did know that passive income is what I need to focus on. I told Del in another interview recently that it was Rich Dad, Poor Dad, totally rewired my brain. Like, I totally thought differently about money. The whole idea of just working for the next 40 years of my life to invest in a 401k, I was like, oh no, I am not going to do this. Like, it ruined me as an employee. And, but I didn't know how to do it. And Lifestyles Unlimited, what was cool about it, with Del and his, kind of his flagship 2-day course, teaches you the actual nuts and bolts how to do it. Like, I'm the type, like, I will not move forward unless I know step one, I know step two. If I have someone I can talk to, a mentor. And so that's really what opened my eyes, was just that we walk the walk. And if I could say, I've been in the Austin area, a lot of local networking groups, real estate. Some of them have programs, where you pay tens of thousands of dollars to be a part of their group. What's interesting, though, is when I go to some of these huge, and they're like huge groups, like we're talking 200 people in a room, maybe meeting monthly. And it was funny. I just remember they would say, how many in the room has bought a deal, like at least one deal or two deals or something? It'd be like maybe 3 or 4 or 5 people out of a group of like 200 people. I was like, this is crazy. And then you go to lifestyles, and it's almost, you'd be hard pressed to find someone who isn't invested in a deal, who isn't like taking action. And because we focus on one thing. We're not just spread and across like 10 different avenues to make money, whether it's flipping contracts or flipping houses or, wholesaling or however else, creative financing, all these interesting things. It just seems like those people aren't focused. They're scatterbrained, but we focus specifically on rental properties and, the 5 ways we make money. And so anyway, I can't say enough about what Lifestyles has done for me, my family. The relationships I formed with this, like making friends with you, LTC Gordon here and his son and just so many great people I've met and relationships, friendships. And we're all just, prospering together, which is awesome.
All right, Joey, what I want to do is get off topic from me and get on topic with you. I said we were going to get into the tactics of real estate.
Tactics. So I'm a single family mentor, and that single family's been my bag. Tactics would be kind of the two big options that our members are faced are, do you want to focus more on cash flow or do you want equity capture? And really what that means is, cash flow is, as the name suggests, it's just passive income coming in every month, mailbox money. And, if your ultimate goal is to get enough that meets or exceeds your current expenses, number one, that's your first hurdle. Second is, how much money do you want to live the lifestyle you want? And that's number two. So you can maybe go travel more or get involved in more hobbies or charities or whatever it is that you want to invest in. And then the other tactic would be equity capture. And this is, David Fisher or Dale Walmsley, they would tell you that this is the fastest way to build your net worth is through equity capture. So if you don't have a lot and you want to build up faster, you got to focus on equity capture. What equity capture is the extra money that you get after you fix something up that just comes out, basically out of nowhere. So, for example, you buy something for $100,000, you put in the $50,000, that's $150 all in, but now it's worth $200. So that difference is called equity capture, and another word for it would be unrealized capital gain. Unrealized meaning you haven't sold it yet and it's not in your pocket yet, but it is available. So those are really the two tactics that a lot of our members will pursue. The two broad tactics in how we make money.
What do they need to figure out before they get to the tactics? I mean, are there some fundamentals that they have to sit down and decide on, or should they just go right to the tactics?
Well, we do, as a single-family mentor, which I've been honored to be a part of since 2018, we'll have that initial mentor meeting with our members, and we'll touch on goals. So what are your goals for the next few months? And usually I'll feel them out to get a sense what their background is. A lot of people are leaning towards, I want money, I want to do the equity capture. That sounds sexier. I want to do that. Generally speaking, a large equity capture property nowadays means it's going to be potentially and most likely a larger rehab. So that, and real estate constantly changes. Back in 2008 through 2012 through 2015, I mean, even all the way through, in the last few years, you could buy a property that doesn't necessarily need a ton of rehab and get a fairly decent-sized equity capture. And really, but I would say, just to correct myself a little bit, in the last few years, it's changed a bit to where the properties have gotten older and the rehab's gotten larger. And if you're brand new, if you're a brand new member with no construction, no real estate experience prior to joining Lifestyles, I don't want you doing some massive rehab. I don't want to set you up for failure. Yeah, you could probably do it, but if you don't have that background, I want to set you up on an easier property, which is going to build up your self-esteem, your just your experience in the whole process from start to finish. in acquiring these single-family properties. So more than likely, it's going to be one with a little higher cash out of pocket, a little lower equity capture, and you'll just focus more on the cash flow. You'll hold on to this one for a little longer. So, yeah, it just depends. It's really case-by-case basis for each member on where they're at, how much capital they have, on what direction they want to go.
What markets do you focus on? I mean, I know you live in the Central Texas area because you're kind of my neighbor, although you live about an hour and a half away from where I live. What markets do you find productive?
That's the beauty with this program is it works pretty much anywhere for the most part. Like, I don't want to maybe be in a non-landlord friendly state and invest in single family. But I have invested around where I live. Yes, I'm in Austin, the Austin area. I live in Georgetown now. I lived in South Austin for 10 years while I was just getting started. I didn't want to go to San Antonio. I didn't want to drive too far. So I ended up, and I teach members this when we do our initial mentor meeting, how to find things locally. And in fact, I'm looking at one right now I'm pretty interested in Elgin, Texas. So Elgin, it's known for its sausage. If you've never had Elgin sausage, a lot of good barbecue joints and places around here in Central Texas. And but yeah, I like investing closer to home. So all of my single families have all been in the greater Austin area. I've bought a lot, and I still actually own a few in the Austin area that are still cash flow and doing really well. I've held them for a while. It may be a little tougher to find ones locally in the Austin area, like within city limits, just because of the price point. We want to find properties that the masses can afford, the middle class. That's really important. So, like I just mentioned, Elgin. Elgin's a little bit outside the beaten path. It's not near IH-35, but it's still close to Austin. So I'm looking a little further out. I have some over near Bryan College Station. Bought one over in Burnett, Texas. Gerald, Texas. I have a lot of members buying up in Killeen, a handful anyway. They're doing really well, and you can do this. You just need to, instead of relying on our agents, although they can maybe be your buyer's agent, they may not find you the properties, but you could find them, have them be your buyer's agent. But you can find your own outside of Lifestyles agents. You can find and work with wholesalers, and that's all I did. I mean, and I still do that. And when I was first starting, I relied heavily, since I didn't have a buyer's agent, I relied heavily on the mentor. And back when I started was Jim Vaughn, who is a living legend for me and so many members. He was the one sole single family mentor back in 2012, and he was solo for a while, and I was like, golly, and I just could see the growth with Lifestyles and people catching on. So we eventually started getting 2 single family mentors. Now we're up to 3. And it's, man, the demand is still there.
I think the big takeaway from what you said, Joey, is that you network. And with networking, you got success. When we come back from the break, more with Joey. Stick around.
Got questions? Call Lifestyles Unlimited at 855-497-4335. The Real Estate Investor Radio Show continues next.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to be a part of Lifestyles Unlimited? Del Walmsley tells you what to expect when you join us for the next live online free workshop.
We've been here for 30 years. Over 30 years, we've had and or do have roughly 50,000 plus members all over the United States. We have retired tens of thousands of people, and it's just incredible what you're going to find that you're going to be in here. Not only are you going to find the greatest amount of information and education, you're going to find the people, the most open people you've ever met in your entire life.
Come meet the people at Lifestyles Unlimited who will help you change your life and empower you to stop depending on a paycheck, your 401k, IRA, or Social Security for your future. Register at LifestylesUnlimitedWorkshop.com. At the free workshop, we'll teach you the 5 ways to make money with real estate, cash flow, equity capture, appreciation, equity buildup, and the tax advantages. Like Del says, we'll open our books and show you how the numbers work with both single-family and multifamily case studies. Register at LifestylesUnlimitedWorkshop.com.
Creating the lifestyle you've always wanted. You're hearing Lifestyles Unlimited's Real Estate Investor Radio Show.
Welcome back to the second half of the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show. My name is Al Gordon. I'm joined by Joey, and together we are working on your financial freedom. So, Joey, let me ask you a very personal question in front of millions of people. Is that okay if I do that?
Well, why not?
Okay, let's go there. Are you real estate retired? In other words, do you have enough income coming in from your real estate investments that you don't have to work? And let me sweeten the pot. Does your beautiful wife have to work?
The wife hasn't worked for years, so no. And, I guess you could say I'm still working to a certain degree. I'm a mentor, and I was getting to the point where I was telling you right before we cut off, it's picked up. It's like crazy. January was the busiest month. Jody, Jillian, and myself, it was just insane, the number of calls. Because Lynn Murrow, who hired us, said, hey, you still need to focus on your real estate investing. And so we don't want you to work a full-time job. But holy smokes, has it picked up. It's like exploded. It reminded me of in 2020 when during the lockdowns, we were inundated. It was just crazy. It was a full-time job then. It really was for a while. So, things kind of, I don't know if you could say normalized, but things slowed down for us. But yeah, I am busy. I'll put it that way. I have 2 lead syndication deals going on right now up in Northeast Texas.
When you say I've got 2 lead deals, tell the audience exactly what you mean by that.
Okay. Well, in the outside world, they would call them a syndicator. And we teach this at the 2-day, for anyone who's brand new, this is going to be totally a foreign concept. But when you get into multifamily, it's normally big numbers. Like you don't just do it by yourself. You need partners. And we have what's called passive investors or partners. And they're the ones I think it's probably over 80% of our membership is in passive. And as a passive member, and what they do is they throw money at a lead. In the outside world, they call them syndicators, and they will take that money and get it to work for you through buying small, medium, or even large apartment communities. And so the lead is the one that, they have a job basically. They are, they're responsible for overseeing the project, especially if it's smaller. If it's smaller, you don't have enough of a budget to hire any staff to help you with that project. So it's all on that lead investor. And these are small projects. These are smaller. Both properties are under 10 units. And the smaller ones tend to have a little bit more meat on the bone. Like there's the returns are pretty sexy compared to some of the bigger ones, although you can still make good money with bigger ones. So, yeah, that's hopefully that answers that question. You're kind of the worker bee in the investment as a lead investor.
Okay, so you're dedicating a lot of your time to real estate investing and helping other people invest also. I think that's a very noble use of your time. I think it's a better use of your time than, being a hard money lender or being an accountant. What do you think?
I enjoy it. I enjoy it a lot. I'll be honest. I really like being a mentor. I never thought that this would happen. Jim Vaughn, my mentor, he was, he really is. He's just absolutely changed my life. When I first started with Lifestyles, and for a number of years would just help me prevent me from making mistakes. But I enjoy the mentor side. I really enjoy being entrenched here with my colleagues, Jody, Jillian, and everyone on the Central Texas team, and of course the whole company. I love it. I really love giving back, helping other members succeed, seeing them up on stage doing case study. So it does keep me a little busier than most, real estate retired individuals, but I really enjoy it. So no complaints there.
Now, I always seem to run into you when we're doing a single-family road trip. I'll just pop into a property, and there you are. You've got 2 cameras staring at you. You're holding a microphone, and you're leading a whole bunch of people through a property. Can you explain to us what happens at a single-family road trip?
Those are one of my funnest events. In fact, that might be one of my funnest is doing the road trips. If you just don't know anything about houses and you don't know what a good investment property looks like, you don't know what it smells like, you need to show up to these single-family road trips. It's where we go in person with a number of other members, so your colleagues, your friends, and then we have agents there. So single family agents are there to introduce themselves. You can build a rapport and network with them. We also have contractors that show up and vendors, other vendors that show up to the property. And it's just a huge educational experience to help you feel comfortable with analyzing and walking through a property. And you can just imagine yourself if you were if you were the first member on an email blast and the agent tells you you're first in line, what you can expect next, what you can do when you walk through to do your own due diligence before you have to pay, a non-refundable fee to the title company for maybe a wholesale property or something. So, because these properties do move fast. I don't think some people don't realize that, but you really have to move fast for these, what we call off-market properties, which means they're not on the MLS, multiple listing service, and, not your traditional homes. Anyway, it's a phenomenal experience. Then afterward, we go out and eat at a local restaurant and just, fellowship, network, and build friendships. So it's a pretty awesome experience.
Now, the last two road trips that I went to where you were presenting the properties, one of them was a duplex and it was in kind of bad shape. But another one was a single-family residence that was being rehabilitated. I would say it was about 95 to 98% complete. Why is it you would showcase these two different types of properties?
Oh, just so you can get a different experience. And that was a great property, the one that was pretty much all rehabbed. That was with Garrett, one of our members. And it was cool because, you can meet Garrett. He's practically your neighbor down the street who just did it. And you have the opportunity to ask him any question you want. And he's willing to divulge and disclose all the information about the property, his experience with overseeing this rehab for the property. It's just, that's why. So you can see that final result. I wish we would have had pictures of the before. I think there were a few that he had on his phone that people could see, but just that transformation. And sometimes we'll do that. We'll find a property that's stinky and ugly and just the perfect investment property. We'll do a road trip at that property, and then a month or so or three later, we'll go back to it and show you, hey, here it's all finished up and it's for rent, and here's the numbers. So it's just a great opportunity to see all aspects from all different stages with single-family investing.
Let me switch gears on you, Joey, because we only got a couple minutes left on the show. What I want to focus on is, what is your lifestyle like now that you've achieved real estate retired status?
Well, the beauty is we get to do what we want when we want, basically. So we do find ourselves traveling a lot more, seeing family. And that's probably the number one change, I would say, is like, I don't have to ever think about, paid time off and vacation hours or whatever, and have to approve it with my boss. It's like, we just book it and go. And so that, I would say that's probably number one. Number two, I call my wife the Amazon queen. I mean, we don't have to think twice when she wants to get something. And she has her phases. So for a while she was the orchid queen and then the plumeria queen. She's big into plants. And then she's invested in chickens. She's a sourdough, she's big into sourdough, and it's amazing. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. Fermented vegetables, fermented dairy drinks, yogurt, stuff like that. I got a good healthy gut right now, Al. I'll tell you that much. So we just don't have to think twice about what we want to do. If we want a hobby or something we want to get into. I recently started getting into hunting, which I know a lot of you are surprised because I'm from Wyoming, and you think, how in the world were you not into hunting? But I wasn't until my buddy here, he had me join Lifestyles Unlimited, or I got him to join, Lifestyles Unlimited recently. He's gotten me into hunting, and so I'm hunting white-tailed deer and hog. I just bought a .308 rifle on an AR platform, and it's like, wow, this is cool. Like, it's that flexibility and freedom that I feel I have in my life that I wouldn't have had, and I'd have to think twice about spending before I had joined Lifestyles. And so it's just a total life changer.
What would you say to somebody that's listening to us right now that's on the fence about joining?
Yeah. So everyone's a skeptic. And so why don't you come to the case study or go to the free workshop? First, the free workshop. That's where we want you to go. That's where I started. Then come to the case study, and you come up and look at them in the eye. Come and look at me in the eye in Austin and see if I'm a paid actor, because that's how skeptical I was when I first started. You were literally meeting other Austinites, San Antonians, people in the greater Central Texas area, and I know we got Dallas and Houston, and now we're national. Like, come and look at us. I mean, you can't fake this. I mean, I'll take you to my houses. You want to come by and look at my houses with me? I'll show you the HUD statements, when I closed on them. It is for real. And I know you got questions that's hanging you up, like, oh, what about this? What about that? Oh, gosh, I may butcher this, but you have to, if someone's giving you advice, particularly if they're saying, oh, you got to be careful about this. I've heard bad things about, toilets, tenants, and trash. Where are they in life? Seriously, look at that person and say, is that where you want to be? Are they successful? No. And if they did fail at real estate, you're talking to a failure. You need to talk to people who have been successful in real estate. And there have been thousands of us that have been successful.
Hey, we're at the end of the show, and I want to thank you so much for being a part of it. And if you want to do what Joey's doing, you want to do what I'm doing, you want to do what the 50,000 members of Lifestyles Unlimited are doing, go to lifestylesunlimited.com and let's get you going.
The information and opinions you hear on the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show are those of the host, guests, and callers. The Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show is for entertainment purposes only. Please consult a professional regarding your personal investment needs. Nothing presented constitutes an endorsement, recommendation, offer, or solicitation to buy or sell any product or security.